Hey guys, this is a new topic. Omicron. Okay, here you go. This I pinned it on 11/22. Okay, you see, some of them, some of the topics, those are the date. I don't know what happened, but I go to link or the source I go because for legal purpose. Okay, I don't know if some of them have this or what, and some have the link on the okay. But I have to save that. Okay.
January 11th, 2022, 8:28 p.m. Will workers ever return to offices after Omicron's latest surge? Equals Houston Chronicle subscribe sign in. Most popular. After 40 years, a murdered, broken heart.
It's a capital.
Omicron is disrupting the return to offices. These workers don't ever want to go back. Ryan Cost, San Francisco Chronicle, Jan. 5, 2022. Registered trademark at https://www.house.chronicle.com/coronavirus/article/omicron-variant-disruption-office-workers-return-1675085-2.php111. January 11th, 2022, 8:28 p.m. Will workers ever return to offices after Omicron's latest surge? Brent Edwards takes a Zoom call while working remotely from home in San Jose. Edwards and his wife, Eli Edwards, are packing up to move to Los Angeles, where Eli has a new job. Brent will continue to work remotely but from a new Los Angeles home. Jim Gensheimer /special to the Chronicle. San Francisco, Jessie Palmatier had only been working at her job at an East Bay nonprofit for a few weeks before the pandemic forced offices to close across the Bay Area. Since then, she's been working fully remote with no end in sight. She's only been back to the office once, she says, and that was in May 2020 to grab her computer monitor. The switch definitely took some adjustment. Palmatier, 30, had to arrange her home office as she was using it, making it comfortable, filling it with all the right things. But once I realized how much I was saving with my commute, and how much energy I had after work was done, I was like, this is awesome. When she needs a break, she https://w can lack a ball around with her dog in the backyard, which beats standing around a water cooler any day. Now, as the Omicron variant once again scrambles well-laid plans, possibly killing the return to office date altogether, Palmatier, like millions of others, finds herself hoping she'll never have to work in an office full-time again. I sort of just have this impending dread of the possibility of being required to go back full-time, Palmatier says. I've learned my job and grown my role, and all of that from my home office, so it would be more disruptive to make me go back to an office I only spent a few weeks in. Almost overnight, it seemed, the novel coronavirus transformed the way millions of Americans worked, and just as quickly, some of the region's largest employers, like Salesforce, Facebook, now Meta, and Apple began to reimagine the very nature of work. As early as May 2020, the same month Palmatier collected her monitor, Meta began talking about a hybrid approach and the possibility of letting certain employees work from home forever. https://www.house.chronicle.com/coronavirus/article/omicron-variant-disruption-office-workers-return-1675085-2.php311. January 11th, 2022, 8:28 p.m. Will workers ever return to offices after Omicron's latest surge? What might have seemed then like a niche tech world revolution has, by now, spread to nearly every sort of job where remote work is possible, says Nicholas Bloom, a professor of economics at Stanford University and an expert in remote work trends. About 50% of the American workforce, he says, has the ability to work from home. About 50%. He expects 40% will go hybrid, while the remaining 10% will go fully remote. For a considerable part of the country's labor force, and perhaps even a larger piece of the Bay Areas, the future is very clearly hybrid, Bloom says. The question is what exactly that will look like. Back in May 2020, he might have expected employees would only spend a day working from home. https://www. By May 2021, a year later, hybrid was becoming the norm, but at 3-2, Bloom says, meaning 3 days in the office, 2 remote. By May 2022, one wouldn't be surprised if hybrids become the model at 2-3. I think what Omicron is doing is pushing up, slowly, the number of days people will see hybrid. By now, what some used to call the new normal is simply normal. In some sense, undoing the shift to remote work would feel just as strange as the first few months of working from home did. At San Francisco's Metro, a pay-by-the-mile car insurance startup, the transition is already well underway. The company stopped guessing at a return to office date a while back, says Deborah Jack, the Senior Vice President of Communications. And, she says, even once the pandemic has faded, we have told Metro milers they are welcome to work from anywhere. That wasn't always the case. I remember when we decided to go home in March of 2020, we thought it would be for about 2 weeks, says Jack. As the pandemic stretched on, though, it fundamentally changed our hiring model. It really gave us https://www.housetopchronicle.com/coronavirus/article/omicron-variant an opportunity to expand our hiring options and pull from places all around the country. Now, the company has employees in 30 states, she says. Their CFO is based in Seattle, while their Senior Vice President of Marketing lives in Richmond, Virginia. The company's offices are still open, currently at 50% capacity, Jack says. But most days there are very few people working there. We are still encouraging people to work from home if they want to, and most Metromlers are taking us up on that. Another way to view this trend, Bloom says, is that employers, motivated in part by the hot job market and the possibility of recruiting talent wherever they live, are moving closer to what employees want. According to his own surveys, a full half of employees who can work from home want a hybrid model, and ideally, they'd like to be in the office about only half of the week or less. For employers who resist the trend, Bloom says his surveys show that as many as 40% of employees would begin seeking new jobs if they were required to go back full-time. https://www. William Young had spent his whole life in North Carolina until December 2019, when he made a cross-country move to San Francisco, where he landed his first job out of college at an advertising firm. He loved the city, he says. He'd run along Marina Boulevard and across the Golden Gate Bridge. He visited Ocean Beach and hiked in the Marin Headlands. A few months in, though, the pandemic forced Young, 24, to reorient his life all over again. Like others who were able to work from home, Young decided to leave San Francisco. He went back to Greenville, NC, where he could weather the storm at his parents' place. The move was supposed to be temporary, but nearly 2 years later, there's no concrete end in sight, and the pandemic has changed the way Young thinks about the future of work. He still has plans to return to San Francisco once the office reopens, whenever that may be, but he can't imagine returning to the office full time, and neither do his employers expect him to. I was only a few months into office life and sort of getting slightly depressed at the cubicle 5 days out of the week, he says. At this point, it's been so long of remote working that I've just gotten used to it and really enjoy the perks of it. Last week, Grant Edwards, 51, packed up his workstation and moved from San Jose to Los Angeles with his wife, who is starting her dream job as a law librarian at UCLA. In the past, Edwards might have had to leave his job and go looking for something new, but in this remade world, there was no decision to make. Edwards has been working remotely as a programmer for Clary, a revenue operations platform based in Sunnyvale, since he began in October 2020. And like Metro Mill, Clary has been actively hiring all over the United States, he says. Nearly a third of the company's engineers work remotely. https://www.house.chronicle.com. Like most remote workers, Edwards is planning on occasional trips to the office, at least one a month. It's important to be seen. But, he adds, I don't have much of a desire to go into the office. The times I've been there, I've been less productive. Now, mind you, the reason I've been less productive is because I'm talking to people. I'm getting my face out there. Travis Gore, a product designer at Google who lives in the outer sunset, has noticed the same thing with his own productivity. For all the concerns employers may have had initially about letting employers work on their own, Gore, 42, finds he's much better able to optimize his time at home. Being in an office, I've just realized I get less done, he says. I'm hunting for meeting rooms. There's just a bunch of options of stuff to do. Even lunch, I can go to a really nice Google cafeteria, but all of that just means that I'm at the office more to get the same amount of work done. https://www.house.chronicle.com/coronavirus. At home, he can put in headphones and concentrate. No distractions. It's great not having to spend 100 minutes a day commuting, he says. And it's nice to be able to walk out in the backyard and spend 10 minutes out there. Gore started his job at Google in the midst of the pandemic, so when variants are no longer a daily topic of conversation, he expects to work some sort of hybrid schedule. He wants to make sure to enjoy all the perks that the tech giant has spent decades refining. Still, he says, I keep getting a little excited every time they delay. Brian Cost is a San Francisco Chronicle staff writer. Email recost@sfchronicle.com.
Yeah, and this one, it's talk about the both. Technically, it's not a talk about COVID-19. It's talk about the new variant of COVID-19. How it affect on people, workers that going back to office. Um, and some of them it says they're more protected on working home when they need a break, like work outside or what. That's good. That's good. Really good to do. And they plan to move around the country. You can see that one of the first went back to North Carolina. Hey, if we can do a work from there, do it. Again, for legal purpose, I'm not a accounting tax person or what. Other a lawyer. What's the logistics on that one? How about the taxes or what? So I don't know. Talk to you guys about your um expert about that one. Okay.